Welcome to this week's Monday Mood. It's probably been about 6 weeks since I've done one in person just like this on my own. Between the episodes that we released and then obviously talking the 5 minutes with friends with Blake a couple of weeks back. So I hope everyone's all right. Coming off the back of July 4th weekend, which for anyone who's not American coming to this country, it's I'd put it up there with Thanksgiving as one of the top sorts of bank holidays or celebrations they have in this country. The holiday season's not quite the same as it is, certainly in England. But yeah, July 4th's all right. Fireworks, just tons of food again. Usually the sun's shining, barbecues and all that. So I'm not even going to complain about anything this week as far as that's concerned, because it's not been a bad weekend. Got a bit of colour, sat outside, went on a boat. Yeah, it was all right. It was all right. So we'll get going with this week. It's funny. This week's been quite heavy, to be fair. Like this week, Tuesday marked 23 years since I first landed in the US in 2003. So Wednesday was my wedding anniversary. My brother had been staying here for a while. He went back the end of the week. And then July 4th. So it's been a mad one. It's been a crazy couple of days. But funnily enough, I hate to say this, but we didn't do anything crazy to mark our anniversary, me and my missus, but didn't really... you don't mark your anniversaries here, do you? You just sort of recognise it and you look back, and there's no big post. It's just a moment where you look back and you go, 23 years has gone fast. Like I could go on, couldn't I, and make this big thing about, 23 years in the US and, it's been amazing, life-changing, which it has, but it's all kind of landed at the same time. And it's not about the big milestones with the parties that come with it now. It's the quiet milestones, the ones that sneak up on you. Because again, if you'd have told young Gary, 22 years of age, that in 23 years he'll have been living in the States for that amount of time, doing what he's doing, don't know if I'd have believed you. But it just stops and makes you think. So that's where we're starting today.
Across Bomb Podcasting.
There's 4 things kind of landed this week. You've got the 23 years thing, and then there's a few other little bits, and then something that our last guest, James Stuart, said as well that I just can't get past, and it's something that I've been thinking about all week. But we'll get to it. So 23 years ago, I crossed the pond. That's the whole premise of this show, isn't it? Literally crossed over, came over here. This is what it is. And I know some people cross ponds in different ways, whether it's a illness or a new job or a career change or whatever it is. Nobody really tells you that you never really finish crossing. You just get better at dealing with it and moving past things and getting better. And there are days still, genuinely, 23 years on from 2003, where something little happens and I still feel like the same lad that got off the plane with 2 suitcases that God knows what I needed them for. Remember that when you used to pack tons of stuff in your suitcase? So I was one of those. There's no need to wear 14 pairs of undies because you can just wash them. But that's what it was. And there are days when they genuinely feel like that. Someone uses a phrase, someone says something, someone assumes that I know a reference or, something that I didn't experience. And for half a second, you come back to the start and you're just that lad getting off the plane. But the other side of it and the flip of the 23 years is I've built an entire life over here. And I think my brother would say the same thing when he came over last week. He said, you don't realize until you're actually here just what you've been able to do. And everyone, a lot of people and people are willing to help you out. And it's a good thing, obviously. But think about this, like, a career, albeit started in coaching, but it's branching more into teaching now. A podcast like this that started 2 years ago and it's still going now, 2.5 years later. Friends that took years to earn. It's different from meeting someone out on a night out and then thinking that you're sound. But then, having those friends that you can text or rely on and go and see all this time later is massive. And now it's the identity, isn't it? It's not just, people just know me as Gary now. Not, that English guy or that Irish guy or whatever it is they think, wherever they think I'm from this week. And it's not just the guy with the accent. It's just me. So when that anniversary landed on Tuesday, it wasn't exactly nostalgia. It was more like an audit, looking back at what happened over the last 23 years and saying to yourself, right, what did I actually do with those 23 years? What have I got to show for it? And what am I still carrying from that crossing or that event that I don't really need anymore? And that's the real question that a milestone like the other day makes me think about. And that's what I think you should think about as well, which leads me to the harder part of it, which is asking for help. And that's not something that's natural to me all the time. I don't think it's natural to a lot of people who've had to rebuild a life somewhere new or restart a career or get through a relationship, whether it's crossing a literal pond or, moving through. You've got to learn that nobody is going to come and save you. You've got to do it yourself. You figure it out, don't you? You figure out how to get things done. You figure out how to adapt. And you come really, really self-sufficient because you have to be really, really self-sufficient. The only difference with that is, and this is the thing that I sometimes struggle with, is that instinct, that self-sufficiency. You don't know when to switch it off. And I needed that at times, right? I can think of big moments, right? I can think of landing at 22 and that being a massive moment. I need that resiliency to keep me here, right? I think about when relationships have failed or moved on or jobs haven't worked out and you needed that resilience. And, you have that instinct, that resilience instinct that keeps you going, but it doesn't always serve me. Now, what I actually need to say is, instead of fighting through it, me just saying, I don't know how to do this. Can somebody help me? To a colleague or a friend? And I'm getting better at it. But what I'm relearning is asking for help isn't the opposite of independence. It's what independence looks like when you have a maturity level and an experience level. So being able to ask for help is something that you learn how to do. And it's not a sign of weakness, and it shouldn't. And it connects a little bit to empathy, because real empathy isn't expecting everyone to cope the way you learn to cope, right? I can hold people to the standards that I think are the right way to go, but it's not true, is it? I just need to understand that they deal with things differently. Not everyone's been thrown in at the deep end and been told to go and figure it out. Not everyone's been programmed to grind through alone. They're just on a different path. So you meet people where they actually are, not where your own history taught you that people should be. And that's the biggest difference for me. Like you have to kind of meet them where they are. But that goes both ways, right? It's a lot easier to ask for help when you're not quietly judging yourself for needing it. Like I have no real fear as much anymore of asking for help, which is really the same fight as breaking old habits, isn't it? Like the self-sufficiency thing is a habit. It's useful at times, but habits don't come with dates where it's like, right, like where you get food and it's like expiration date. You just have to know when something's gone off or you don't need it anymore. It's not reinventing yourself from scratch. You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's just going through the habits that you've been running on autopilot with for the last however many years. And honestly, asking yourself, is this still who I am? Or is this just who I was when I needed to be like that? And, sometimes thinking about that, it can prompt a lot. The one habit that I'm glad I didn't get out of, and I hope some people might laugh at this when they hear it, but like, it's nice to be nice. That's one habit that I've never really wore out of. It sounds simple. It's almost like a throwaway comment, but I keep coming back to it. It's not a strategy to be kind, right? It's not a strategy to be nice to someone. It's not a networking thing with like, oh, better manners because I'm being kind to somebody. That'll hold me in. But what it does do, it pays dividends down the road, because you can't go straight to it because you never know when it's going to happen. But if you hold a door for someone, you give someone the benefit of the doubt, or you sympathize with someone and you help them out in a need when they need it. You're patient with someone who's having a rough day. All right. You don't get anything back in that moment, and you can see it as a thankless task, but you can also see it as like, someone might remember that. Like, think about something that you've done or someone's done for you that was just a nice touch, and you don't know why, but that person, you hold that person in a different regard because they talked to you on a certain day when you really needed them and they didn't know. But sometimes that'll come back around in a form that you never could have expected or predicted. Right. And that's the one, when we talk about habits being on autopilot, for me, I think that's one of the ones that stays there. And then last week we had the episode with James Stuart. I hope you listen to it. If you haven't listened to it yet, go back and give it a listen back. I enjoyed it a lot because it was very nostalgic for me to listen as well. And it's something he said that's been rattling around in my head. But he was talking about the best moments of his time and, in one place. And in particular, it was New York, right? He was talking about New York, about how for him, 2000 to 2009 was like his time in New York, and how it was good and how things changed, and that's okay. But he said one important thing he said, you recognize that you enjoyed it, recognize that that was the time, but also understand that let yourself have it, but don't get stuck in that time. And how many people do you know that, get stuck in a certain time, whether it's as an older teenager, whether it's in your early 20s, you'll never get back to that time. And I think about that constantly now, because in those last 23 years, I've been lucky enough to have some great experiences. And before I came to this country as well, don't get me wrong, when I was younger, I had some great experiences around football and friends and everything else. But it's so easy to, not notice the good chapter when you're in it, or notice it so much that you won't let it go once it's over. But you keep trying to recreate it, and you measure everything new and everything that happens to you. You measure it based on what your expectations of that moment. But it's not going to be like that, because everything is different. It's this whole mindset of moving forward. So 23 years in, I've had a ton of those chapters, good ones, ones that I'd love to go back and just nip in and visit. But I don't want to go back there forever, because that's gone. It's helped me, it's shaped me, it's got me where I'm going. But I don't need to go back there to know that it was a good time, because I'm excited about what's going on in the future. And James was right. Your job is not to live there. It's to clock the moment and say, that was decent, that mattered to me. And then just keep going. And you can look back every now and again, whether it's photos or memories or a song might come on and you remember it. The next big moment won't come along until you let go of the last one. And that's important, isn't it? Because if you hold on to something for too long, you're going to live in the past. Right, that's me for this week. It's been a good weekend. I've had a good time. On the 5 minutes with friends thing, I hope people have got onto this, because I've started to do it as well. And it is really, really nice to see that some people are moving with the movement, if that makes sense. But understand that this crossing, me 23 years, you doing whatever you're doing, it doesn't stop. It's not something you finish. It's something you keep on doing. You let go of things that what got you here. Be honest about what you still need, and just be kind on the way, because it's nice to be nice, and you never know when that's going to come back to you. And 23 years in this country, I'm still doing it. I'm still trying to do it, and I'm still moving forward, because the only way you can go is forward, and there's no point looking back, because that's gone. That was yesterday. If this one landed with you, send me a message. It'd be great to hear from people. I read everything. And if you know someone who needs to hear something like this, that it's okay to ask for help, that it's okay to move forward, send them this episode and see what they think. I'll see you next Monday. An absolute throwback as well is going to be Andy Broadbent next week, an old UK elite boss, as well as one of the alumni. But thanks very much for listening as always. I appreciate it so much. Have a top week, and I'll see you soon. Nice one. Cheers. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you or someone you know has a story to share, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us via our socials, or visit www.crossingthepondpodcast.com to get in touch. Please be sure to subscribe, like, or leave a comment if you can. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Across Pond Podcasting.